So, I hate playing Hollow Knight. I had so many people recommending it to me, telling me that I'd love the music, the animation, the story, the general vibe, and while they were alright, no one explained to me what the actual gameplay was. If I had known truly what it was like beyond, oh, it's pretty hard, I would have never picked it up. I suck at platforming. I've never been the greatest at combat where I can't just tank my way through it and I actually have to pay attention and react quickly. And even when I do kind of get the hang of those things, it doesn't necessarily improve how I feel about actually doing it. Being decent enough to get through a fight and enjoying how the fight feels are, of course, two different things. Honestly, I would have enjoyed Hollow Knight much more if I just watched someone else play it instead, and I am very wary of picking up Silksong since it is touted as being even harder, though I am pretty confident that Team Cherry will maintain the same quality for all the things I do like. I hate playing Hollow Knight, but I don't hate Hollow Knight because I can recognize that it's just not my type of game, and that's okay. Whether we are ready to accept it as a society yet or not, video games are art. If you have an extremely narrow concept of what actually qualifies as art, we could surely at least agree that video games heavily rely on art in order to craft the experience of the user. Games tend to involve animation, illustration, background design, graphic design, character design, music, sound effects, voice acting, storytelling, all that good, traditionally artsy stuff. The thing about art is that every single person can have a vastly different reaction to the same piece of art. Two people could look at a painting of a dog, and one of the people could find it happy and hopeful, while the other person could think it's sad and mournful. Neither of them are wrong, because art is fluid, and it takes on meaning as different people consume it. It's honestly one of my favorite things about art, and creativity in general. It's what draws me to creating my own works. Video games are no different. That does make it rather tricky on the side of the creator, however, because your intent, your execution, and your reception could all end up vastly different depending on a ton of factors. You could work for years and years to perfect your story, or your wordplay, or your music, or whatever your art happens to be, and it would never be able to guarantee that every single person will get what you're going for. So instead, the only real goal you can go for is to do your best to speak to the people who will get it, and not try to win over the folks that won't. 'Cause you can't do that. I know that the people who made Hollow Knight weren't trying to make a game for me, a person that has never enjoyed this type of gameplay ever, because they were never going to win me over. Even though I love just about everything else, I was never going to enjoy the gameplay unless they didn't make it the Souls-like platformer Metroidvania hellscape that it is. Sure. It does genuinely suck that pretty much every other aspect of it is perfect for me, and this one major thing is holding me back from fully embracing it, but I'm not about to blame Team Cherry for that, or any of the people that enjoy Hollow Knight because of its gameplay or difficulty. I think a lot of people would agree that doing so would be rather silly. However, I have been noticing that lately that tide is shifting. People like this have probably always existed, but I've noticed it now more than ever that people approach the creations of others with an insanely selfish mindset, at least on the internet. Both as a bystander and, unfortunately now as a creator, I see people feeling genuine rage or offense when they come in contact with a piece of content they don't like. It's not about sharing their opinion, offering a critique, or calling out something that's catalyzing harm in some way, all of which I think are valuable and should be encouraged. Rather, almost every day, I watch people policing opinions, complaining about editing styles, or condemning artistic decisions. I watch as people go after creatives, calling for them to change their messaging because it doesn't speak to them personally. I watch people go after each other, harassing people for not liking something as much or in the same way as themselves. I listen to strange personal attacks based entirely off of whether a person has the same interpretation of a fictional character as the next guy. It's one thing to share your thoughts about something, but it's another entirely to act as though your opinion is the correct one, and should dictate how a person or group of people should proceed with their art or their own opinions. I am admittedly no sociologist or psychologist, and couldn't begin to determine where this is coming from, but I'll take a crack at it anyways. I can only surmise that this is largely a result of parasocial attachments mixed with the accessibility and anonymity of internet communication. People not only get parasocially bonded to creators like YouTubers or indie developers, but also with the media these people produce. And I think because of it, a lot of people end up thinking their personal feelings are more important than they actually are. Specifically, they think their opinions matter more than everyone else's opinions or the opinions of the creators themselves. Combine that with the ability to shoot anyone a DM or a comment or an email in a matter of seconds, and you have a recipe for a lot of entitled fans. Personally, I've not dealt with this too much, and I'm grateful for that, but I certainly see others deal with it. We live in an era where people actually harass voice actors for the actions of fictional characters they read lines for. What are we doing here? I think that same mentality also explains the conflicts within fandoms, too. Wars over shipping, tier lists, the quality of a design change, and so many other pointless discourse topics stem from people not seeming to understand that the meaning they derive from a piece of media is something that is personal to them and therefore should not have a bearing on whether or not someone else agrees with them. Honestly, I think that's really a lot of people's problem. Everyone is so involved in everything other people are saying and doing and taking it so personally, when it's not personal at all. I don't mind some healthy discourse, and I can get heated when I see a really misinformed take. Don't get me wrong, but if someone doesn't like Arcane, or Outer Wilds, or Invader Zim, or Salad Fingers, or The Sims 4, or any of the other many things that I indulge in all the time, and have shaped a lot about my humor, or my interests, or my own art, that's totally fine. Arcane is super heavy and gory, and some people just don't like fantasy settings. Outer Wilds is pretty tedious in some parts, and some of the puzzles can be pretty confusing. Invader Zim is super weird and gross, as is Salad Fingers, and The Sims 4 belongs to draconian capitalistic overlords that will do anything to squeeze an extra $1 or $2 out of you. I understand why people might not like those things, and it has nothing to do with me and everything to do with their interactions with those pieces of media. Even when I make things, I know that not everyone will like my art. Trust me, people let me know all the time, and that's generally fine. Some people don't do it in the best way, but it's impossible to make everyone happy. And it's not a reflection of me as a person if I draw noses in a way that PP Wizard 2013 doesn't particularly enjoy. It is frustrating to watch people act like a piece of art is less valuable because they can't or won't get it. It's annoying to see people delude themselves into thinking they are an authority on something they didn't even make. It's depressing to watch people leave fandoms because they got bullied for using an in-game feature in the way it was intended because the fandom has a stick up their ass about how it makes the game a little easier. It is bonkers to me how people launch ad hominem attacks at strangers because they dared to have a different opinion than them. This video isn't really going to change internet discourse at large, I'm sure. I just kind of wanted to complain a bit, because this is my channel, and it's also kind of my job. But if I'm able to issue a takeaway, it's that other people's enjoyment of something, or lack thereof, has nothing to do with you. People don't like things to spite you. They don't dislike things to spite you. They are just trying to enjoy little distractions from our screwed up realities just like you. Everyone is entitled to enjoy their distractions however they want, and that won't always align with you. But that's not because anybody is doing it wrong. There is value in critique. There is value in complaining, even, but if you're spending all your time feeling angry at other people for not manifesting your dream whatever, then maybe you should get up and get that dream done on your own. Instead of trying to change everything, other people's thoughts, other people's works, be the change that you want to see. Use your passion that you clearly have as a motivator to go out and create something that fits your niche. Whether that means writing fanfiction or creating your own improved version of whatever thing you have an issue with, just create. That's what just about every creative person ever has done, including myself. All of the people that made the media that you love were inspired to create by something, and they worked hard to fill it with things that they wanted to see in a game, or a movie, or a show, or a whatever. That could be you if you stop wasting time with meaningless arguments with random screen names on the internet. Go be the next Toby Fox, or Gooseworks, or Markiplier. I don't know what your dreams are, but go chase them. Or don't. At the end of the day, that's your decision. But in the meantime, I'm going to go back to trying to finish Hollow Knight, because I genuinely would like to see the ending, but you know, as a fruit of my own labor. Big thanks to these folks on screen. They're my channel members. They're epic, and they're very patient, and very nice. And I'll catch you all next week, hopefully. Stay hydrated, stay woke, I guess, and most importantly, remember that you matter. Bye!